You're listening to Reignite, a podcast about going back to the beginning. I'm Frankie.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
And as you all know, Matt and I decided on different origins to kick off our foray into Ferelden. Say that 3 times fast. No matter how you slice it, traumatic things happened, Duncan showed up, and we got forced into a cult.
It's true. No matter what, Duncan saves your ass. Oh, sweet Duncan.
And recruits you into a cult.
Yes. I mean, yes. I mean, arguably, the N7 are probably cult-like as well.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
It's worth a shot.
I know that the evil twin calls it the Cult of Shepherd, but the N7 program is not a cult itself.
Sure. I mean, that's a whole different conversation about the military-industrial complex, but we won't get into that right now. Needless to say.
The Grey Wardens are a cult.
Yes, but it's fantasy, so that's okay.
Is it?
Look, at the point we meet Duncan, it's either that or death. So, it's not really a difficult decision, I feel like, at that point.
Anyway, why don't you get into what your origin was? Remind the people what you're playing as.
Sure. So I am playing as a dwarven outcast. I'm deciding to go with the ranger class because I've played rogue at length before, and I've played warrior at length before. And Frankie was being a mage. And while I could have been a mage as well, I can't as a dwarf. So
correct.
So I went with the ranger, which I've wanted to do for a while because I've liked the way I've seen ranger combat work. And I've, controlled Sarah from time to time in Inquisition. I wanted to see how the combat differed from other ranged classes. Also, being able to lockpick naturally is nice because every class I've ever played in every other game, I'm usually a warrior, and warriors can't pick locks for shit. So that was nice. The first time I unlocked a chest just by touching it, I went, oh, nice. Sweet. I don't have to switch to Varric.
Oh, how the turntables.
Remind folks what your origin was, what you created.
I am playing a human mage. I rolled up human. I didn't want to play as a Kusland because I think that quest line is boring. So I decided to play as a mage because that'll give us some variation in how people react.
And so we have 2 very different origins. I remember the origin. I was telling you this offline. I remember the origins taking a long time to get through. But I don't know. The only other origin, I think I stated this on the last episode. The only other origin I played is the Dwarven Noble. And it felt a lot longer than Dwarven Outcast. But it could just be that I played it a long time ago or I was playing in fits and spurts. But this felt way more straightforward and it is your typical pauper story. We can't afford things. We work for a bad person. My family is being treated poorly. Those kind of tropes. How do we want to discuss our origins? Should I just give the length of the basics of mine and then we can talk about yours, or?
Yeah, just get into it.
Sure. So, playing as a lowborn dwarf, you work for effectively a gangster merchant named Barat. My first note is Barat sucks, which remains true through the whole time he's still alive. And the story starts with Barat talking about how he's training your sister to act like a noble so he can marry her off to some noble and we can all be lifted into the noble class, mostly so he can take advantage of everyone involved. He also tells you that he has more work for you with your best friend, whose name I actually is the only one I didn't write down, but is waiting for you outside and to chop. This is important business, blah, blah, blah. Typical like mobster, gangster fantasy. I run, you run with me. You got to do my shit kind of story. You get some time to talk with your sister, Rika, who is awesome. And I hope I get to see again when I go back to the land of the dwarves, because she seems like an actually well-written, genuine character. To only be in the first 5 minutes just feels like a waste. But she's awesome. She tells me not to worry. She's actually met a noble who she likes, and that treats her well. And so if things go well, we'll all be lifted and we can get out of the clutches of Barat. Just keep doing the work for Barat while we have to, and then we will escape. And so the job that you need to do ends up leading you to someone who's been smuggling lyrium for Barat but has been hiding it. You are presented with the opportunity to either kill or spare this person, but you are heavily pressured by your bestie to just kill him and get it over with. And I buckled under the pressure and did that. We took, yeah, I know, gasp. I took the
You
lyric.
succumbed to peer pressure?
I mean, in that moment, I did. I think it was a little
So
out of character for me, but at this moment, like, it was a little more video gamey. Of like, all right, let's just get to the next bit. But so I killed him. We took delirium. We brought it back to Barat, and Barat is as pleased as a boss who doesn't give a shit about you can be, and then tells you he has one more job for you. 'Cause there's always one more job, right?
there's
Before
always
you
one
get
more.
out. And it's to go to the proving grounds and sabotage one of the heroes in the proving, so that Barat can put money on a different hero and win a ton of money that he won't share with you at all. Um, and the proving, for those who may not have any idea what it is within Dwarven culture. It is this tournament where people fight and compete in near-death combat to see who's the strongest, and whoever is the strongest is like lifted up as a warrior among their people, is rewarded. But the lower class cannot compete. It's only for like the noble caste and the families to compete against each other. And so you go off to do this mission, and you encounter Duncan, the head of the Grey Wardens in that area, uh, who just actually treats you like a decent person, not having any idea who you are. It's actually very sweet. You explain to him that you are surprised. At least I did. I said that I was surprised that he was so nice to me. I'm lower class, like I don't have a house, but he wishes you well, and then goes off to do his own thing. When you get to the hero that you're supposed to be supporting, Everett, you find out that he's drunk on the floor, practically unconscious and useless. So you come up with the brilliant idea to put on his armor and compete as him, so your boss can still win the money by putting money on you, therefore putting money on Everett. You compete. It's a bunch of combat, one-on-one duels. And then at the end, Everett stumbles out drunk, wondering what's going on. And it is revealed that you are not Everett, and you reveal yourself. And of course, everyone calls for your arrest. But before they can do that, Barat kidnaps you and your best friend to kill you himself. But first is going to start by cutting out your tongue, and then torturing you, and then killing you. But of course, in all fantasy games, you figure out a way to escape by tricking the very dumb guard, and escape and fight everyone on the way out, including Barat, killing him without mercy. At least me, because I hated him. So I feel like he deserved to die. And then when you finally escape, you run into the head of the proving again, who still wants you arrested, and that's when Duncan steps in. He says that he's looking for capable warriors to join the Grey Wardens, a cult that no one wants to join. He doesn't say that bit. I'm inferring that bit. And then, and he says, instead of killing this man, or arresting this man, I would like to take him with me to take as a recruit for the Grey Wardens. And you're given an opportunity here to ask if you can talk to your best friend and your sister first before you go, which I thought was nice. And so I did. And he's like, "What?" I talked to my best friend. He's like, "What are you, an idiot? Go with him. Don't worry about me. I'll keep an eye on your sister." And you have an opportunity to go, "That's what I'm afraid of." Because the whole time your best friend is like talking about how hot your sister is, which is, as far as dialogue, not aged well, but I guess it's fine.
Fun fact,
Yeah.
if you're playing a femme dwarf outcast, it's not the sister that he's infatuated with.
It's you.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I would have let him still be infatuated with me personally, because I thought I made a very cute looking dwarf, but that's besides the point.
You did. He's very cute. He's just a nifty little guy.
Like maybe a nifty little guy we may meet later. A nifty little guy who's key to the Dragon Age franchise. Or do you meet him for the first time in the second game?
Second game.
Oh, it is the second game.
I thought you were talking about Ogren for a second. I was like, that is not a nifty little guy. What are you talking about?
No, I was talking about enchantment.
Oh, no, we do meet him. Okay, yeah we meet him in this one.
Yeah. He's a nifty little guy.
I thought you were talking about Varric when you said two.
Oh, that too. There are a lot of nifty
Varric
little guys.
Varric is also a nifty little guy.
Yeah, there are a lot of them in this series. But anyway, and then you can talk to your sister, who says, "Don't worry about me. The patron I found actually really cares about me. We're going to be very happy together. We can take care of our mother. Don't worry. Please get out of here, because there may not be a lot I can do for you in the short term, especially if you're thrown in jail." And so then, reluctantly, I agree to go with Duncan. And then we're off to the next part that we can talk about together. I skip some beats, but broadly, it's very much a pretty straightforward path. I feel like I said earlier, the noble had like more starts and stops, lots of conversations because people want to talk to you. But I think with the lowborn dwarves, because no one wants to talk to you, everyone thinks you're garbage. There's not a lot of dialogue to happen. It's mostly just actions and events because you're put in those positions based on your lot in life. And so I thought it was interesting that there was less talking in that story and more just doing, and then that therefore kind of streamlined it a bit.
I liked the dwarf outcast plot when I played through it. I told you it was very different from the noble one.
Yeah, you were right.
And I think it's really interesting how different it is from the noble one, because you're really looking at the same set of events through two different lenses. Because the proving still happens when you're playing as a noble. Rika is still like there doing her thing if you're playing as a noble. Like, it's very interesting. I think it's really cool that these characters exist no matter what.
Yeah, it's like the story obviously is not the same. You change the course of events, but like whereas with FemShep and MaleShep, only one can exist and only one course of events. It doesn't seem like there are multiple paths because it's the story is pretty streamlined no matter what background you choose. There are minor changes, but like it's very reminiscent of the stuff they did later on in Andromeda, where no matter who you pick, the events happen and you get to see different sides of it. And so I like that this happens here too. And I'm also curious to see through your eyes how certain things change, because I know there are major stuff that happens with the mages and the Templars that I've never really seen that side of Dragon Age. And so I'll get to hear about it as we play through.
Yeah. So I played as a mage in the circle. And let me tell you, fuck the circle and fuck the Templars. This is all bullshit.
It is.
You start off like getting right into it. The whole way that mages work is that if you're discovered to be a mage, you are exiled from your life and brought to the circle where you were raised and trained in the way of magic, so that one day when you're ready, you can face what they call the harrowing, where you are meant to confront a demon and resist it. And if you fail to resist it, then you are killed by the Templars, because if you fail to resist, you become an abomination, you become possessed by a demon. But they willingly put you in the path of a demon to make this happen. And nobody is allowed to know that this is what the harrowing is. Which is bullshit. It makes me so angry. And my character was angry about it the entire time.
That's legit.
So you're sent into the Fade, and you meet this character named Mouse. Mouse is literally a mouse, but has the ability to transform into a person. And he explains to you that he was a mage like you, but when he went for his harrowing, he took too long. And rather than wait, the Templars decided not to risk it and killed him. So he's disconnected from a body. So he decides, you seem different. I'll follow you and like make sure you get through this, okay? And you explore the Fade. You meet two different spirits. One is a spirit of valor and one is a spirit of sloth. The spirit of valor talks to you about what it means to have valor and what it means to him. He also tells you about these weapons that he's crafted through sheer force of will. And you have the option to be like, can I have one? And he tells you, well, you have to face me and earn it. So he challenges you to a duel, basically.
Right.
And it's a quick, easy fight. I have nothing but like my magic, so I just keep going zap.
Yeah.
Zap. Zap. So quick, easy fight. He bestows upon me a staff, so I have a little bit more power in my arsenal. When we speak to the spirit of sloth, what annoys me is that you can just walk away from this guy and not take anything that he's offering, but the story will not progress.
Huh. Oh, that's stupid.
So, like, you can just be like, okay, talking to you is useless. But if you don't, like, get something out of him, then you can't progress. So, eventually, what you get out of him is he'll teach your mouse friend to turn into a bear.
Oh, cool.
So that way he can help you in the fight against the demon that's hunting you. And once you get that, then you can progress and go back for the demon. And when you speak to the demon speaks to Mouse and goes, "Ooh, what have you brought me as per our deal?" And reveals that Mouse has been betraying students of the harrowing.
Boo.
And luring them to the demon. Mouse stands up for himself and he's like, "I don't have to do what you tell me. I know how to fight now." And helps you to defeat the demon. The whole time I'm like, "Oh, Mouse, buddy." Mouse. Thought we were cool. And then you confront Mouse and you're just like, do you even know any of their names? Like, it's fucked up. And he tries to be like, "Don't you judge me. I had to survive here." And it's like, okay, but survival shouldn't come at the cost of your soul. But then, plot twist, he then says, "Maybe I don't have to be stuck here. Maybe you can help me. Maybe I can see the outside world through your eyes."
Oh, no.
Oh, no. So I have a moment where I'm like, oh, I don't think that demon was my test. And then Mouse is like, "What are you talking about?" LOL, just kidding, you're right. I am a demon of pride. And you passed. Peace. And just leaves.
Wow. All right.
And just dips. And I'm just like, okay.
I thought we were going to have like the spirit of judgment situation here.
I thought I was going to have to fight an evil giant man on my own, but I guess not. So then you wake up in the dormitories, you passed your harrowing, everything's great. And you meet your buddy, Joanne. And Joanne is like real stressed out. He's like, "Oh my god, what was the harrowing like? You have to tell me. I've been here forever and they still haven't put me forward for my harrowing. I don't know what's going on. It's driving me bananas." So you tell him what you can tell him, what the game allows you to tell him. Or you can be like, now, Joanne, you're just gonna have to wait your turn. I told him like what I could tell him because I'm like, fuck this place. I don't fucking care. Fuck your secrets. So he's really stressed out because there are only two options for mages. Either you pass your harrowing, or you are sent to become a tranquil.
Right, where they like take your like mind away and you're just kind of like a husk or something.
Yeah. So tranquil are emotionless, they are kind of mindless, they follow orders, etc., etc. And that's what Joanne is most afraid of. He's afraid that they're going to send him for the rite of tranquility instead of letting him take his harrowing. Because there's a rumor that he's a blood mage, which he insists is not true.
Mm-hmm.
You are summoned to speak to the first enchanter, and the first enchanter is entertaining Duncan. And this part confused me because nothing actually happens here except for you meeting Duncan. That's literally it. Because Duncan's like, "Oh, is this the apprentice that just passed? That's neat." And Irvin's like, "What'd I tell you, huh?" I'm like, why are you talking about me?
Stop it.
And then like nothing comes of it. So like there's no hint that like maybe I want to send you to the war effort. Like they talk about the war a little bit. The war between Ferelden's forces and the Darkspawn. And how Gregor, who is the knight commander for this branch of the Circle of the Templars, doesn't like giving mages the freedom to leave the tower, even if it is for a war effort, and doesn't want to give the king any more mages because he thinks it's too dangerous. So Irving basically is like, "Why don't you escort our friend Duncan to his room?" And I guess it gives you an opportunity to question Duncan. But if I'm playing as like this mage who is like newly passed, like who's new to the circle, no longer an apprentice, like what the fuck do I care about you, man?
Yeah. There's no connection.
I didn't really talk to Duncan because I wasn't really given a reason to.
Right.
Other than I'm escorting you to your rooms. And it's not like he said anything to me along the way. So dropped him off at his room and Joanne's out there and he's just like, "Bruh, I need to talk to you." But not here. somewhere private, and he takes you to the like meditation room for the chantry, and there's a chantry initiate there, and you have the chance to be like, just so you know, there is literally an initiate standing right here before you tell me anything secret, buddy. And then he reveals that the two of them are in love. Gasp. Which is against the rules.
Yeah.
And you also find out that they are going to send Juan for the Rite of Tranquility because of the rumors about him being a blood mage.
Right.
And the rumors aren't true, and he and Lily just want to leave the circle, run away, live their lives, and like be happy and in love. That's all they want. So they recruit you, their friend, to help them break into the storeroom where the phylacteries are, so that way he can destroy his phylactery, thus preventing Templars from ever hunting him down. So you get involved in these wacky hijinks, and your options are to help them or to tell Irving. So, like, you could be a snitch, or you can help your friends pursue love.
Huh.
I chose to help my friends pursue love because, again, fuck this place.
Right. You have no allegiances to this place.
Like, fuck this place. So I decide to help, and in order to do so, I have to get a rod of fire so I can burn my way through some locks. And it means talking to some first enchanters, some senior enchanters, rather, and getting their permission. The first guy I talked to wanted a fucking dissertation proposal in order to get it, and I was like, this is too much like real life. No, thank you. I am pursuing my PhD, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't make this like real life. What the hell? This is fantasy.
How dare you? I'm trying to write a Gantt chart in my real life. I don't need to write a Gantt chart in my fantasy life. This is terrible. So I went over to an old man who was like, oh, you are gonna get up to some shenanigans. Do me a favor, set that Templar over there that I hate on fire, and you can have whatever you want.
Nice.
So I was like, yeah, for
All
sure,
right.
man. I did not have the ability to set him on fire. Would have liked to. It would have been great.
Sure.
But I did not have that option.
Your bias is showing towards the Templars.
You mean away from the Templars?
Well, I mean against them. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, against them. Can you tell that I fucking hate them?
Yes.
Speaking of Templars, before I forget, there's an important Templar that I interact with named Cullen.
Yeah. Who's a whiny baby boy.
Who gets all, like, flustered and awkward when I talk to him.
Because he has crushes on every lady mage in the tower, pretty much.
And he's just like, oh, hi, you can talk to me whenever you want. By the way, they chose me to kill you if you turned into an abomination. No offense. I'm glad that I didn't have to.
Oh,
because I'm secretly in love with you. Fucking Cullen. So that was hilarious to me. So you go back to Joanna and Lily, and you break into the storeroom. But first, you find out that you can't use any fucking magic on this door that you're supposed to be trying to use magic on. Because there's wards in the stone. And the whole time we're doing this, there's a guard in the hallway.
Right.
And I'm just like, interesting. Very interesting. And of course you're trying to break into this room with there's a guard in the hallway while you're trying to break in. And no one thinks, like, maybe we shouldn't be trying to burn through these locks in front of this man. But of course, nobody cares. So you decide you're going to sneak around and break in from a different angle. And you go and break through this other door, and the guard's like, oh, I can't have that happen. So after you burn through the locks, he's like, oh, I better do my job now. And the whole time, what I hate is that the characters talk while they're fighting, and they say, like, their pithy catchphrases. I hate it. Please stop talking.
The main character.
Yes, and your companions.
Oh, sure, yeah.
They have their, like, little catchphrases, too. And mine was just like, my warden senses are tingling. I'm like, you don't have any of those.
Yeah.
You don't have any of those yet.
Nope.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So you do a little loop, and you fight a bunch of guards, sentinels, who are maybe real people and maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I fought a bunch of them.
Uh-huh.
And you get into this magical, like, storeroom that has artifacts from Tevinter in it. and you can interact with them. And one of the statues starts talking to me, and I'm like, that's a bucket of nope. I'm not going near that thing.
Nope. Yeah, you know
No,
better.
thank you.
You've seen a movie. You know better.
And it's like, I am someone famous from the past, and I was punished by being turned into a statue. I was like, you were a demon. No, thank you.
Yeah, I'll pass, but thanks. Thanks, but no thanks.
And then there was this dog statue, which was a power amplifier. And they were like, what's this thing? I was like, that's a certified good boy.
That's what that is.
Certainly a good boy. So you had to use the rod of fire on the statue, and it blasted a hole in the wall into the phylactery storeroom. And you're just walking around trying to find Joanne's phylactery. Nothing's fucking labeled. How did you find it?
Yeah. How do you even know?
We found it, and he destroyed it, and he's like, and now I am free. And I'm like, great, run away and have children or whatever it is you fucking want to do. I don't care. And we leave, and Knight Commander Gregor and First Enchanter Irving are fucking waiting for us. Yep. Like, you were right about the rumors. And Irvin's like, I'm so disappointed in you. Why didn't you tell me? Because I hate this place. Obviously.
I'm not a snitch, obviously.
Like, why would I tell you? The man just wants to run away with his, like, girlfriend and be safe and not be conscripted into a life of slavery. Like, come on. So, the initiate, Lily, is being threatened with going to ANR, which is mage jail. And she gets upset. And Joanne is like, don't touch her. And you know what always fucking happens when they corner a mage? They see no other way out, and they resort to blood magic. Like they always do. And he resorts to blood magic, and he blasts everyone off their feet, and Lily gets upset, and she's like, you promised me you would never do blood magic. And he's like, I want to protect you. And I'm just like, you guys are a fucking mess. And she tells him, like, I never want to see you again. So he runs away, and I'm just like,
wow, you did everything for nothing.
That motherfucker lied to me. He told me he wasn't a blood mage. And, like, I would have been less annoyed with him resorting to blood magic if he hadn't been like, I dabbled. Like, real? Are you real? You don't dabble in blood magic, you dumbass. But yeah. So, Joanne runs away. Lily is, like, heartbroken and upset. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So, Gregor wants me, like, killed or sent to jail or something, and Irving's like, I'm so disappointed, and Duncan's like, let me step in and put my nose where it doesn't belong. I need a mage. I could do with one of those. And I'm just like, well, I guess I have no fucking choice, because fuck this place. So yeah, and they just like hand me over to Duncan. They're just like, your problem now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so, and then Duncan takes me to Ostagar.
Yeah, it's funny. With my story, it's the dwarves fight more to keep me there. They want to throw me in jail. They don't just hand me off. Like, Duncan has to convince them, and then you say yes. So it's interesting that on your side, they're just like, yeah, I guess. Take the mage,
like, Gregor
whatever.
really didn't want to let me go. He was like, you shouldn't be rewarded. And I was like, fuck you. I hate you.
Yeah, you're the worst.
So terrible, Gregor. So, we're brought to Ostagar, where we meet King Kalen.
Yeah, who is very nice. And my first thought when I met him when I first played this game was, he's nice. I can't wait to do more stuff with him. Womp womp. So we meet King Kalen. He's very nice. I made him feel like shit. Because, like, when he meets you, he goes, hi, you know, it's so nice to meet another one of the stout dwarves. I love your people. How's the king doing? And you can say, you know, he's doing good, or you can say, I don't know, I'm lowborn. I don't even know. I've never met the king. I don't even know what he looks like. And it's like, oh, sorry. Well, I'm sure he's still doing great. He was a great man while I was there. But it's great to meet you. And then talks to Duncan about the stuff that is the same for both of us. I just thought it was very funny that I could make him put his foot in his mouth, making an assumption that all dwarves are noble. I was like, hey, yeah, I don't know the king. And honestly, the king can go fuck himself.
It's just, My favorite thing about the things that you can say is you can be like very diplomatic. You could be a huge bitch,
Yeah.
or you could just be like kind of neutral.
Yeah.
And it's like everything's kind of neutral except for this one option that's a huge bitch.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. Like the horrible things you could say to a person.
Yeah. They let you be really mean and shitty in this game.
Kaylin, so excited to meet us. So excited about working with the Grey Wardens.
Yep.
Wants to see a dragon so fucking bad.
Yeah, he wants to be the hero of legend and fight an archdemon. And Duncan's just kind of like, well, like trying to like temper his expectations and like keep him calm. Like, this is not the kind of battle I think you want to have. Though Duncan has his own concerns that an archdemon hasn't appeared as well, and that like it seems like something is amiss. But Duncan's like, we're winning. What could possibly, or not Duncan, King Kaelin's like, we're winning. What could possibly go wrong? We're gonna be legends. It's great.
And Duncan's like, oh, so many things can go wrong.
Yeah. And then he's like,
so many things.
He's like, I should go because I'm trying to remember what's the name of the general of the army. Logain. He's like, yeah, I should go. Logain is going to yell at me because I'm too happy and taking my time. He wants to go over more strategy. King Kaelin is sweet, but he's very much the classic cocky prince or king archetype, and just very much like, oh, no good will come of this. Literally none.
Yeah. He is the kind of himbo you don't want, because he's just like, everything's gonna be great. I'm in a position of authority. It's like, oh no, that's the opposite of what we need.
Yeah, but after you talk to King Kaelin, then you have some more words with Duncan, and he tells you to hang out in the camp. If you need him, he'll be handling business across the bridge, but you're meant to get acclimated, and then when you're ready, meet. You can ask if there are other initiates, and he says there are. You should check in with Alistair, one of the initiates who's here as well. He will get you set up for the joining. Yes, now it sounds like a cult. And you can ask him about the joining. He's like, well, it's this thing that all Grey Wardens have to go through. And I'm like, that's not an answer.
Yeah.
It's not an actual answer. He's like, not, and he tells you, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. All Grey Wardens go through it. I went through the joining. You'll be fine. And I still was like, but what is it? Could I know what this thing is? And he's like, you'll be fine. Go check with Alistair. I don't believe you.
No, you shouldn't. You honestly shouldn't.
I like Duncan, but like also, I don't believe him.
Mm. And that's where we left off.
Yep.
I'm sure everything will be great.
Yeah. What could possibly go wrong in Ostagar?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
We're gonna kick Darkspawn butt.
Yeah, we're gonna win the day. It's gonna be the shortest game ever. So if you want to play along with us, play the Ostagar section.
We should define that. Are we doing all of Ostagar, or are we doing just the Kokari Wilds?
So
and then coming back.
So I don't remember the order of events. Like, you have to do all of Ostagar before shit goes down and everything goes bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I remember the Kokari Wild.
Morgan and Flemeth in the woods.
Right.
And then you come back.
Yeah.
And you have the joining.
Yeah.
And stuff happens.
Yeah.
And then the war begins.
Yeah.
And you have to defend the tower with Alistair.
Right. I feel like we can do all of Ostagar, right? I don't think it's that long.
We'll find out.
I mean, I think narratively, look, listener, we have the right to change or decide or split into 2 episodes, but like, you should play all of Ostagar if you have the time. If you're playing along with us, just play all of Ostagar, and no matter what, you'll be covered for what we discuss next time. But until we like outline it, it's kind of hard to know how much. But I feel like there's not a lot that goes on in the Kokori Wilds besides some conversation. It's once the war happens and all of that is where narratively the shit hits the fan, as it were.
Sure.
Okay. It's decided.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So, that's this episode. Next time we're going to take on Ostagar. We may or may not have a guest. Who knows? We will be bringing guests on this season. We're still trying to figure out like where to fit them in, because this is kind of more nebulous than the next few seasons will be. Also, I just don't know a lot of people who love characters in this first game the same way they do in the second and third games. And I think that's because this game is broader. Like, a lot of the characters fit into archetypes and aren't as like I don't want to say cartoonish, but as like over the top as they are in the second and third games. They are bigger, more bombastic personalities in the next 2 games for sure. But we will be having more guests on this season. We're just not sure when we're going to get that revved up yet. But stay tuned. And if you know someone who you think would be a good guest or that you would like to be a good guest, we're going to tell you where you can contact us in a minute, and you can suggest those folks.
If you like what you heard here, you can follow us on social media. We're at ReignitePod on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram, facebook.com/reignitepod, or you can send us an email at reignitepod@gmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at FrankieBWrites and Matt at DJ_Stormageddon. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcatcher if you can. It helps us get seen so other people can find us.
We also don't have any new reviews to read or emails, so please reach out. If you write us a review or if you send us an email, we will read them on the show. If you have questions about Dragon Age, you want to ask us questions about our plans for the future of the show, please feel free to write in. We'd love to hear from you.
If you have suggestions for segments.
That too. Yeah.
I love a good bit.
You do love a good bit. We're also members of the Certain Point of View podcast network. You can visit certainpov.com to find more nerdy podcasts, each with a unique point of view. You can also find a permanent invite link to our Discord server. We have converted our Mass Effect chat to a BioWare chat, so get those memes posted. There are tons of memes from Dragon Age. I know that for a fact, so let's get that stuff revved up. But if you want to talk things BioWare, our Discord is a great place to do that.
For personal projects, I have nothing. I am getting ready for my initial assessment and trying not to die. So keep me in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you and goodbye.
I am still really pushing the Fun and Games Patreon. We launched that at the beginning of the year. If you want to support me right now, besides Ko-fi, the best way to do that is through the Fun and Games Patreon. We have 3 tiers, all with some great stuff. If you go through the higher tiers, but please go check that out. It's at patreon.com/funandgamespod. Beyond that, I will be at PAX East. I will be at PAX East. It is the second to last weekend of March. I believe it starts on the 23rd. And I will be on 2 panels at PAX East as well. That just got confirmed. More details about that on my Twitter. As Frankie said, you can go to DJ_Stormageddon and find out all that info. One of the panels will even be streamed, so I will provide all that info as it comes. We'd like to thank Carter's husband for developing amazing t-shirts that you can find at certainpov.com or on the Certain POV Teespring.
And finally, thank you to Radic Wade and Echoes of Oblivion for our theme music. I'm Frankie.
And I am Matt, aka Stormageddon. Remember, Grey Wardens.
In war, victory.
In peace, vigilance.
In death, sacrifice.
Video games are a unique medium.
They can tell stories,
Immerse us in strange, fantastic worlds.
blur the very boundaries of our reality.
But at the end of the day, video games are fun, whatever fun is to you.
I'm Jeff Moonen,
And I am Matt, aka Stormageddon.
and on Fun and Games, we talk about the history, trends, and community of video games.
It's a celebration of all the games we play and all the fun we find within them.
And there's so many more games out there, so we hope you'll share in that conversation with us.
Fun and Games podcast with Matt and Jeff. Find us on certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And happy gaming.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.